All right, guys, welcome. Happy Friday. This is a cup of coffee with Cha Rules. Let me see if I can get a cup. There we go, up in here. Free for all, ask any and all things. I'm here to help. So Alpha 14, 15, 10. So mantras. I'm not heavily studied in like Buddhism or yogi and stuff like that. I always find it best to come from different frequencies. So like each chakra has a different frequency, and each wheel like spins and stuff, and it's best to try to get them all in alignment. But I always Tiki Talk, thank you for the cap, by the way, much appreciated. Your gifts will be used to help others. So I always try to find it best to just kind of come from a mellow place of peace and calmness, emanating like love in and out. Like, so if you've ever seen how magnets work with the poles that turn in opposite directions, positive and negative, it's always like an in and out thing that spins. So when I'm coming from a different frequency in a peaceful, loving manner, it just depends on mood. And I've actually mentioned this one time. I found the frequency that somehow was perfect with nature. I don't know if it was the Schumann resonance or whatever it's called, but I literally was like, I could feel my energy was like one with the natural realm. It was so cool. It was almost like sensory deprivation, and everything was like just in peace and unity. It was amazing. I hope everybody's Friday is going well. It's beautiful out here. Thanks for everybody for joining. We're just getting kicked off. So I usually stay on here for about an hour and answer any and all questions that come my way. Don't matter what it is. We have fun and just goof around and stuff. And I kind of keep a diary on here of my life, and all this stuff gets posted, so I can always go back and listen to it. And so can y'all if y'all want to. Much appreciated for your follow and support and shares. Thanks for sharing the lives. It's just a beautiful, beautiful day today. And man, I'm going through all kinds of fun stuff. I'm looking to have a camping experience this weekend. That should be a lot of fun. I'm going to like some Indian reserve that is has some trails around it and stuff. So I bought some hiking shoes. I never had a pair of hiking shoes, but I got some, and I'm trying to break them in a little bit today. And I also have a tent. I bought a lot of stuff for the end of the world, because when Ovid was hitting and going crazy, I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought the economy was going down, and I bought some stuff, including like a tent and solar lights and stuff like that, and I've never used them. So I'm actually getting to bust some of them out from the basement to try them out this weekend. So that should be a lot of fun. Alpha, now is word as strong as written. So that, I don't know if that's a statement. Now is word as strong as written. So believe it or not, the living word is the most powerful. Okay, that's where the divine spark consciousness from the living water that it's inside of our minds, kind of everything emanates out from. So the living word is where at the top of this triangle up here, that's the highest form of words. Okay. Now from there, you can have it written in the natural realm, or you can have it spoken, which comes from the living word outward into our reality. But you can also have inaudible words, which is the living word. Like if you can read a book inside your own mind, or talk or say something inside your own mind, that is the living word. That is your consciousness. But yeah, written word is good for enforcement and memorialization of stuff that transpired, because a lot of people forget stuff. And there's this old saying that goes, if you don't write it down, it never happened. And that's bolstered true for me for a lot of things. Like I remember going back in old notes and stuff and looking up, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. But if I wouldn't have wrote it down, I wouldn't ever remembered it. Now, in the spiritual realm, your subconscious records everything. It doesn't matter what's going on. Like from every piece of clothes you've ever worn, every meal that you've ever had, hearing people talk in the background while you're sleeping, all this kind of stuff continues to get recorded in the subconscious, ether realm. But and you can access that. Some people call it Akashic Records or something like that. I don't know exactly what it's called, but so Alpha 1451, dealing with the Wizard of Oz. Yes, so the Wizard of Ounce, that is all about the gold that was taken away from the currency It's a beautiful book, and it's actually a beautiful parody, almost like Plato's allegory of the cave, where what's up, Black Swan? Where they're showing entertainment for the masses, and your average sheep cannot see past and beyond just the entertainment portion of it. But the Wizard of Oz is highly ingrained and rooted in telling everybody what's going on with the current bankrupt system of the U.S. and how gold was taken from the fiat currency, and basically when everything turns black and white. That's when everything turned into a corporation, and then the first person she met, I don't know if it was the Tin Man, the tax identification number, then she met the Straw Man. Maybe it was Straw Man first, which is your birth certificate. Then it was the Tin Man, the tax identification number. Then it was the Cowardly Lion, and the Cowardly Lion are the people who are cowards, your flesh bodies, the naturally new order of how things were after everything got turned into a corporation, because everybody's running around all scared and fearful, even though we are all sovereigns on this earth. And if you listen to my public school video, it shows that we are indoctrinated and taught that we are basically supposed to be subjects and react to authority, when I'm here trying to tell you the truth is we are all divine sparks of sovereign creation, that we can have unlimited ability and power. We can contract however we want day to day, and you can shape your lives through the contracts that you keep, and they emanate out verbally from the living word, and then goes out into, like, creates ripples almost in the spiritual realm. Alpha. People are blaming the jab for not being able to see this. Well, there's so much misinformation about all that stuff. There's a lot of suppressed truth. A lot of the social medias were suppressing any and all things that went against the mainstream narrative, right? I am one heavy testimony for, and I will slowly start revealing more about the truth, because I'm not going back to the company that fired me for not receiving the jab, but there's more and more truth coming out about it all the time. All these clots, all these people that are dropping this, and it's really sad. And there's been articles written like, why didn't the people that didn't get the juice do more to try to stop us? When everybody was getting scoffed at, mocked, and scorned for trying to say, hey, don't do it. And people were being outcasted, hated. It was like hate crimes and stuff. I tried to tell the whole corporation that they're setting themselves up for, and this is a big company. They have 600-700 employees. I tried to tell them, hey, you're setting yourself up for lawsuits. There could be medical risks, and I'm trying to be colorable, because in my mind, I know that the U.S. is just a corporation, and I'm not part of that, I have nothing to do with it. I don't care what they say up top, or whatever that hierarchy is. So I colorably tried to tell them, y'all are setting yourself up for lawsuits. People are going to get hurt. You're reducing your workforce, and it just is what it is. And I still got I got lied to. I got danced around, and ended up, like I said, getting fired eventually. Was supposed to just be on unsupervised, or sorry, not unsupervised probation. It's funny because there's a lot of correlation between a job and jail. Doing a life sentence working as at a 9-to-5 employee versus jail time. So anyway, I was being suspended without pay for I think 90 days was what I was told. And then originally they told me that they were gonna, anybody who requested an exemption, which I did. I requested a religious exemption. They said anybody who was requesting an exemption would get an additional year of unpaid suspended, suspension from pay and all that. So after 90 days, I circled back. I'm like, hey, the stuff's kind of dying down now. Can I work remotely? I can get tested daily or weekly or whatever would make everything smoothly. I can, this, that, and the other. And they're like, yeah, the best thing we can do is fire you. And I was like, oh. And eventually, like I said, I will talk to everybody. I could have gone after them through a lawsuit. I thought about suing them, but it's kind of complicated. And like I said, eventually it was more beneficial for me not to. And like I said, as a little more time goes by, I will eventually reveal all the truth. It will blow y'all's mind if y'all had any idea what I'm going through. Like if I wrote a book, like you wouldn't believe it because of the stuff that I've been through. All right, now, Black Swan, we did try, and I didn't The problem is all the main sources of being able to distribute and disseminate information of the truth were being suppressed. Even Facebook had like an entire CIA division that was meant there to in suppressing all of clinic, like doctors. There were doctors that had proven and licenses trying to give out medical advice that was getting suppressed, and it's just so sad. It sucks. Luckily, I've been studying. As soon as this stuff started getting heating up, I started studying. I have, if you go on my website under Pharmakia and look, I have one of the most extensive libraries of research on that topic that it'll blow your mind. Like I said, I did a lot of studies on it. Alpha, basically, we are the man/humans, and the public side is bloodline of Satan, ? Wow. So let me touch on that. That's a good question. So we've all been given an animal to sacrifice, okay? So you could look at the Bible as heavily allegorical, but it's really revealing a lot of the truths once you understand that it has a natural, a spiritual, and a commercial interpretation. So the natural realm is actually controlled in its roots from the spiritual side, okay? And matter's just a vibrating frequency of light. Like, that's all it is, you know? You got to think, there's three different lights. There's the natural light, the spiritual light, and the commercial light. The natural light, there's been authority granted to the rulers of the natural realm that deceive us greatly with the two eyes of division, and, you know, but you are a fractal of the Creator. Now, this earthen vessel is just a tool that you're given to sacrifice, and it's up to you how you want to do it. You can die daily, or you can do the second. So there's a second death that happens, and that is either you die daily and then die and move on, or you die that one time and then die for eternity. So it's like, you know, you get to pick which side of that mirror that you want to operate on. I choose to sacrifice myself to try to help everybody else to an extent. I mean, I'm also living my life. You know, I'm having fun. You know, I'm seeing a beautiful girl, and I got kids, and I'm managing properties and stuff. You know, and that's the whole purpose of this test is for you to become one with the creators. Okay, for you to find it, and the rulers of the natural realm have been given authority to deceive us greatly on all kinds of levels, okay, to be able to keep us, and it's called a spinning sword of fire that spins in all directions to try to keep us from reaching the garden, okay. It's in the very first book, and the Bible, I love it, but it's basically like the same story. Once you see on a high level, it's the same story over and over and over again in different ways, different aspects, different angles to reach different people from different tongues and different walks. But it mentions, like, all the time, not to be bound by the written law, that you are seeking one with the Creator, and basically the whole purpose is to try to become and find and reach one in spiritual unity. That's the summation of it. Now, it's a written law book, and it is very powerful. It's my favorite law book, and, you know, that's where a lot of my foundational spiritual knowledge came from before I started meeting people that were awake and heavily spiritually involved and able to, you know, raise my consciousness some. All right, so I hope that answered your question, Alpha. Rachel, teething can cause nasal polyps, nose membrane injury, and the brain is closed for aggressive testers. Okay. I don't know if you're on the right site. Maybe you need to go on PubMed or something. I don't know what's going on with that, Rachel, but thank you for that. I didn't know that teething, whatever that is, I'd have to even look that up, can cause nasal polyps, nose brain injury. How about snoring? I snore a lot. I snore if I fall asleep on my back, and I hate it. So I'm kind of stuck to sleep on my stomach or my sides. All right, Cain and Abel theory. Yeah, so our firstborn Alpha is the natural flesh, you know, and that's why I revealed the foundations in the order that it was revealed to me, which is nature. Everybody understands and grasps nature first, and most never ever see beyond that realm, you know, and they're stuck in their reality, and that is what it is. Now, if you can come to the higher elevations of the spiritual understanding that everything has a design and a divine purpose behind everything, and there's spiritual stuff going on, then you can reach the second foundation. And then commerce came to me last. This I think it's this side. Whoop. Commerce came to me last, and dealing in all your interactions and exchanges. And even in my videos, I've grown a lot since I've started doing and releasing this knowledge on TikTok. It's taken me a while, but I've gained so much knowledge helping y'all, because y'all are me, and we are all one, and we're just basically all in this together. Black Swan, hold on. Me and my family have not been sick at all in the last 4 years. After my research, I applied it immediately, and turns out, well, I might need to ask you about that, because I have caught every mutation that has gone around, and I actually just recently got it over a real bad one. And about three or 4 months before the C19 was released, I got sicker than I'd ever been in my life. It was like, I had headaches, nasal running, and I just tried to do the natural immunity, let it flesh itself out. Well, I just recently had another one that took almost a month, just now, just getting over it. And I don't know if that means something else is getting ready to be released or what they're doing, but, it is what it is. But yeah, I'd love to know what would stop that, because I was even looking up Barbara's stuff, trying to put. I gave my girl onions. She doesn't like taking nothing. She's very natural and holistic. I love it, and she like is against the medical industry. I'm all for it. I love it. She didn't get. Imagine trying to date. This is what's so funny. I told her, like, trying to date, as a 41-year-old dude, and just like number one, like, just try to find a girl that didn't take the juice. Like, that just drops your dating pool down to like 30% or something. And like, let alone, like, if that was just the only thing you were shooting for, like, that's tough alone. And I was like, let alone all the other stuff she is, being beautiful and smart and all this, that, and other. But anyway, so yeah, I'd love to know what would prevent any sickness, because I watched a video where a guy said he had some guy gave him a cup of water and put a mark on it and said, don't drink below this mark, and just continue to drink it and fill it back up with tap water that's filtered. And he said he put some stuff on his face and he didn't get sick. And then the guy also told him that New York is getting ready to get shut down. And the guy was like, he's like, how, like, what? New York can't shut down. Like, what in the world? But, this guy was telling him, I think it's called the TSLA or it was some secret group, and I looked it up, and it's some group of people all over the world. It's called the Light, something TLA or TSLA or something like that. But they're the ones that told him all this stuff before the C19 was released. All right, so Rachel, testing. Yeah, I figured you were saying something. Testing can cause. Why testing? What? Oh, testing, Rachel. Now I'm with you. You're talking about the for the C19. Yeah, so that thing, actually, I heard they had like nanoparticles or something on it too, when they were doing those testing. And if you look at all the testing, it's I can't remember the main one that they sent out that was like patented before the release of the C19. But if you look into it, it can't actually test. It has like a it was like 80%, 90% false positive rate on it or something. It's terrible. Alpha. IQ is a big factor, I see. Oh, absolutely, yes. So, and that's one of the things that's very important when you start your walk is to, if you come to the spiritual side, is to actually request more knowledge, right? So, in the book of Proverbs, it talks about how knowledge is the most important thing ever. It talks about cherish the knowledge of the creators higher than gold, rubies, sapphires, like anything on this earth, right? So, when you start dealing in the spiritual realm, it's a spiritual bank. When you're gaining and gathering knowledge, you're building up your spiritual bank, and it is very, very highly important. I recently just started requesting like trying to get more, not more knowledge, but like more space and capacity to be able to get more knowledge, because sometimes I feel like my brain be tapping out on capacity. But we can unlock our brains. So I think we're born or given to start out with, we're created and we're given like 10% allowance on our brains. You got to give the Lord 10%. Well, there you go. You give the 10% and dedicate it, and you can increase and you can actually unlock parts of your brain and get more expansive and more in tune with spiritual stuff, and it's just amazing. All right, Alpha, the Navy created by JFK? What is that? Chief Mimi, hey. I don't know, Alpha. I don't know about the Navy created by JFK, but there. When I start talking about political stuff, I can get banned real easy. So I try to be kind of touchy. I got banned last live. They suspended me because I talked about burying a placenta. And then, like, they said I was giving false knowledge because my baby mama buried a placenta under a tree. And I was like, what? I appealed it, and they accepted it. But I was, how is that giving false knowledge, talking about firsthand testimony of an event that happened in my yard? Like, what in the world? But they, sometimes they suppress me. And, hey, I put out that poem just to see how bad I was shadow banned and how bad I was suppressed. And it immediately, within 20 minutes, originally, my first time I posted it, it was banned from everybody's For You page and search because it said it was unoriginal, a poem that I wrote, and it was interesting as a QR code. So I locked it up so nobody else could see it. It's still on my TikTok profiles, and what's weird is that's the only video that they removed all the views from. It had like 400 or something, 400 or 500. But I reposted it again, and it's not banned, and it's I just, first you don't succeed, try again, I guess. Chief Mimi. Does the legal fiction have a side? No, so commerce is neutral, okay? But it depends on your commerce about everything. You can do good or bad with it. It's in the middle. So the legal fiction, the ens legis, the creature of law, it is just a neutral tool that you can use. It's up to you what you do with it. You don't have to use it at all. Okay. Now, if you're going to start being the authorized representative for it and engaging in contracts and doing all kinds of things, you got to be careful. If you're going to start having it receive Federal Reserve notes, you got to be careful. You got to understand all these games that you're involving it in, and the subject matter jurisdiction and the rules of all the games that it's playing in. So, but yeah, the side of the legal fiction is actually neutral, and it took me a very long time to understand this creature that was created from the registration of the birth. But it's that's what it is. It's a neutral thing. It is what it is. It's a tool. It has benefits. It has pros and cons to everything. That's how it is. Black Swan. We are holistic now as well. That is awesome, Black Swan. Much love for you, man. I'm glad. And it is so hard to be holistic because, I try to pick my battles. I eat out a lot, and I could just imagine what they're cooking with back there. But it's very rarely that I find somewhere that is using organic, raw, natural, alkaline type foods. There are a couple places, and the food it's not that great. But that's. It comes with the nature, and it's so funny because we use herbs and spices to make everything kind of have flavor. Even on meats and stuff, we'll put herbs and spices on meats to try to make it taste better. Veronica, welcome, sweetheart. Thank you for the roses. Much appreciated. Your gifts will be used to help others. Alpha, advise on banking banker. All right, so Alpha, it depends on what you're trying to do. The U.S. Citizen is somewhat of a bank. And if you look up, I have a book that it'll even say that all banks are citizens of the state that they are incorporated in their main office. So a bank is a state citizen, and I would say that, Nelly, thank you for the heart, much appreciated. And I would also say that if you're going to be involved in banking, depending on what kind of banking, like I said earlier, if you're dealing in knowledge, that's like spiritual banking. If you're dealing in food, that's natural banking. If you're dealing in the commercial realm with fiat paper currency or gold or silver or bartering or trading, it's all about it's all about what you do out there that determines everything. I just got a message from one of my tenants. He left. Man, that place was dirty. Whoa, thanks for the supernatural power hands, much appreciated. Strauss Decker and Nelly J, thanks for the heart again. All right, so your gifts will be used to help others by promoting my videos. Guys, this live will be on YouTube. The audio will be on my Telegram group. All my social medias are linked on my website, which is linked on my profile page of TikTok. It's Anointed New Foundation of Peace.life. I have playlists to help re-educate you. I suggest everybody going through it, and I also take notes and stuff like that. I answer DMs, emails, and messages all the time from people to give lawful guidance. All right. Dell. Coca-Cola makes that test positive. Oh yeah. They did y'all hear about? There was some. So one thing, I gotta be careful how I say this, but there was people that opposed doing all the lockdowns, all that stuff originally, but they ended up disappearing. Some high presidential leaders and stuff, and then there was one guy. I think he was in like Africa or something. He did a test swab on a mango. a goat, and like a bird or something, and they all came back positive. You know, it's just so much flim-flams. Veronica, thank you for the roses again. I kind of like the way they have this new setup. They're slowly advancing this thing more and more, and I can see everything now much more clear. I love it. Black Swan, it's too deep. They are patenting nanotechnology and synthetic organisms, everything. Whoa, Strawstracker, that's cool. Thanks for the lights. That's very beautiful. Yeah, they are. A lot of stuff's patented, believe it or not, and Black Swan, that's how they can get everybody. You know, it's just it's a tricky game. You got to be very, very careful when you're dealing with other people's stuff, like Federal Reserve notes or patented technology. Like this platform that I'm on, I didn't create it. So, you know, if TikTok wants to shadow ban me and throttle me down, you know, I'm kind of at their mercy. And they stopped accepting my appeals, except for on my live. My last live did get banned, but they accepted that appeal. But when I appeal a video now, they don't even respond anymore. Hi, Veronica, and whoa, I got some questions. Let's see. I'm glad that I get to come on a little later to help y'all because my daughter's out of school. You study Stallstracker. You study Rudolf Steiner. No, I have not heard of him. I'd have to look him up. What is he involved in? Let's see here. Rudolf, what'd you call him? Steiner? Let's see. Australian. Let's see, he's a occultist, social reformer, architect, esotericist, and claimed clairvoyant. That's cool. He sounds like an interesting dude. Might be somebody you want on your team. All right, whoa. I'm trying to jump back down to where we were. All right, so Chief Mimi, thanks for the heart emoji. Black Swan, that's what I'm finding. Okay, hit the screen and likes. Thank you, Veronica. Much appreciated, my loyal moderator. You're my only one. You're my one and only. I don't know where Jeanette went. I have messaged her recently, but every once in a while she'll write back, but she's just, I don't know what she's doing. She'll ask me a question every once in a while. Moderator, oh, you're pinning comments. So I can see your pin again, but it doesn't show what you're pinning. Mass consciousness manifesting thoughts. Yes. All right. So they have done studies where like groups of people can come together in one consciousness and like start rain, stop clouds. Like it's amazing. And this is part of why the rulers of the natural realm don't want us in unity. Everything that we've ever been taught from a very early age in the indoctrinated systems teaches division. They always want us divided. They want to show that there's a winner, a loser, a Republican, a Democrat, a positive, a negative. You know, they don't talk about the three parties. Everything's in trust. So if you come to the higher elevation of understanding that we're all one in all three of the lights, believe it or not, we're all one in the natural light, we're all one in the spiritual light, and we're all one in the commercial light. And if you come to that realization, you can understand that it's all about unity and coming together. And when you can do that, the powerfulness that can be sought after is amazing. And even in the Bible, they talked about the Tower of Babel, which I actually kind of look at some of the brick and mortar churches as the Tower of Babel because they're building physical structures to try to reach God when the creators are within us, you know, within and without. A building, you know, you could give your life up in a closet. You could give it up in a basement to the creators. It doesn't matter what building. But I'm not saying that some of the churches don't do good out there. But, you know, it's just, you know, the Tower of Babel is what I was getting at is when people come together, they can do almost everything. And they actually were trying to create a tower to reach the creator, even though the creator's in a spiritual realm. And we were given these flesh, what do they call it in Genesis? These fig leaves to cover up our nakedness because we used to be all spiritual, and then we came to once we bit the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That's actually what the Bible is. On one extent, the Bible is the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and that's when we came to a natural lower elevation of understanding, and you know, we're given skins. That's what it was. We were given skins. It's called. They say fig leaves, but we were given skins, and it's for pleasure. So, the flesh that we have is a pleasure vessel that we have to sacrifice. You love being number one, Veronica. Well, you are. Much appreciated. But yeah, mass consciousness manifesting thoughts. So everything's spiritual out there. If you come onto a higher elevation of understanding and you can tap in, you can read minds. Like we've all been given gifts that the creators or the rulers of the natural realm try to suppress. They try to keep us from reaching all these gifts and understanding how the truth and everything really is. Which there's a spiritual aspect to everything. It's the highest on the foundation. All right, moderator, pin another comment that I can't see. Perfect. Agree. Thanks, Alpha. Veronica, I am a true believer in mass consciousness. That's good. That's good because y'all, even y'all being on here, we're elevating the consciousness of everybody, and we're coming from a higher place of understanding, and that's kind of what my whole TikTok's all about, is trying to elevate y'all because me reflecting on y'all is y'all reflecting on me. We're all kind of tied together on amplification. And or this is the same thing that happens, like, have you ever been in a room? This is why in mass media they post a lot of people laughing in the background, okay, because it's all about vibes. And when you watch a sitcom or whatever, they'll have a fake crowd of people that laugh from something idiotic or whatever that somebody does on the stage. And it's our natural tendency to want to vibe on that frequency, so we all want to laugh with them, right? So that's how they keep you entrained and trapped into that mental void of consciousness. But yeah, we're all tied together, and this is amazing. So, straw stacker, secured party creditor, not good. What is better? So secured party creditor is not good. What is better is doing something called status and standing. And I have videos on all of this. If y'all watch the playlist on my profile, it'll help y'all be re-educated on a higher level. But a status document is amazing if you want to enforce in the paper realm what your status is. We're all sovereign, but you get to choose what you want your status to be in this life. It could be whatever you want. We're not the individual trust, the U.S. citizen. We're above and beyond that, and you can put that down on paper if you want. That's called a status document. I have examples on my website, and then if you mail that out to all kinds of people that you think might have some type of hold on you, the human, or your status, you can get them in a tacit agreement in order to get standing, and that's called status and standing, and those are videos that I have on my profile as well. Alpha, that's why I brought up mantras. Oh, really? Alpha, the Indian trade agreement, I'm not saying right. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, Chief Mimi might be able to help you some on, well, never mind. That's a whole different type of Indian. We're on different levels when I was talking about that. So, the Indian trade agreement, the U.S. deceived the indigenous people, whoever they were, whether they're Moors. I've seen a document that did mention the Moors, in the Trail of Tears. So, there's some validity to what a lot of the Moorish people are claiming as they were originally here. Now, whether or not it was sold to the U.S. or they were conquered or tricked or bought out or whatever, but this is the truth of the facts that happen is whenever somebody's conquered or a place is conquered, the controllers from that point get to dictate the education material of what happened. They get to dictate, especially if they're the ones providing and pumping out the books for everybody to read. If they're paying for it, they're paying for the studies. If you pay for something, you kind of get to control what outcomes come from it. Chief Mimi, who or what are these rulers? So the rulers in the natural realm, I would say Lucifer, the light bearer, the sun with spots and blemishes, okay? And what's wild is when you go into the Bible, you will see untold accounts of how Yahushua is very similar to Lucifer in a lot of things. And it's very, very, it seems counterintuitive, but when you find out that they're also talking about the beings of light, the spiritual sun and the natural sun, they're two opposing forces. But then you also have the commercial light, that is the exchange and interaction of in all things between the two different sources. The main source is the natural body, the spiritual body. So the rulers of the natural light and natural realm is a spiritual thing, and what they do is they use people in high places at the top of these pyramids of these corporations to dictate and control everything, because everything out there is basically about corporate interest. So what the rulers of the natural realm do is they take control of the people at the tops of the giant corporations, and they get them to do kind of their bidding, and it's all through influence by, I don't know if you want to call them archons or angels or spirits or demons or whatever, but there's very powerful forces that dictate a lot of the stuff. Like, hey, if they want to put out a mass program to deceive everybody, there's so much I'd love to say on here, but I can't because I could just get banned so easy. 911, for instance, or C19, for instance. When you start giving out information on news medias and broadcasts and stuff like that, nobody knows any otherwise, because everybody trusts the news. And I've heard recently that everybody's getting their majority of their news from TikTok. And when C19 was going real crazy, I used to just listen to the public mainstream narrative news just to see what the sheep were being fed, so that I could kind of understand what to expect when I'd get to work. Because that, for a while, but there was a point when I thought it was real for a minute there. But Fauci's under all kinds of fire for what is it called, gain of function and stuff. I mean, it sucks. Like I said, a lot of this stuff's on my website. If you want to get your mind blown about the depths of studies I've done on that subject, it's in there under Pharmakia. All right, Nature Pharmakia. I keep saying your name wrong. Straw Stacker, so true. What an interesting name. You stacking straw? Chief Mimi Olam. I found a document that proved almost all U.S. history is the legal fiction. You talking about the U.S. corporation or the U.S. citizen? Because the U.S. is a corporation that's in the District of Columbia, and it's just a business. And, businesses can't do anything without people. And I used to tell the corporation that I was at before I got fired for not taking the juice, I used to tell the people up there that people are the most important assets that a company has. Most companies tend to lean towards the bottom dollar profit, so that the people, all the worker minions at the bottom support the board up at the top, and the people at the top just kind of look down on them like they're worthless. But the people at the bottom are the one that do everything. They're the ones that move all the equipment, the paper, the accounting. They're your most valuable asset. You can have trucks, you can have forklifts, you can have cranes, you can have all that stuff. But if you ain't got people, ain't nothing moving. The same thing that happens with the written law, the book. I could grab this Bible over here, and it can't do anything unless I give it life. It is just a book that's just sitting here. But through the living word and able to manifest and give y'all the teaching and stuff, I'm able to reach more people and give higher enlightenment. And that was one of the most important foundations of grasping for the education system. Because, Veronica, thanks for the rose. Because if you're able to transcribe and write down things and have it printed out and published out, you're able to reach a lot of people. And that's why I really enjoyed this TikTok platform, because when I put out that video on how to block radio frequencies from smart meters, it went out to almost 500,000 people. I was like, wow, I can actually reach some people on this platform. It just sucks that I'm getting kind of throttled down so much right now. But Alpha, West Indian trade agreement. Okay, yeah, that's way back. The West India. So the Virginia Corporation of London. And this is just so funny, and I don't know if I said this on my last live, but there was a scepter here in the museum that said to the Corporation of Norfolk, because I'm working in Norfolk, and it's like the Corporation of Norfolk right there, right in front of everybody's face, talking about how the city is a business. And then if you look at the founding of Virginia, the Virginia Company of London, it's a business, it's a Virginia company. It's all about corporations and corporate interests. And what happens a lot of times is some corporations will get started out and they have good intentions and good meanings, but either a board will overthrow the rightful and just rulers, and corporate greed and corporate interest end up taking over once they start squashing coming from love and equity and the people and being in one in harmony, and they start putting money as the top all-seeing eye of everything. That's when a corporation starts spiraling down from that point on. Chief Mimi, the corp, yeah, you talking about the U.S. The U.S. is just a corp founded in, I think you've watched my U.S. history video. I put a lot of that from some of my old teachers together, but the people who actually run the corp, so the people that run the U.S. Corp, it's just a business. So corporations have presidents, they have treasurers, they have board meetings, stuff like that, Congress, stuff like that. It's just a business. And a lot of times it's all about business interests. A lot of the wars that happen are just about corporate takeover and corporate greed, and nothing to do with people on a small level. It's more about commodities and land and agendas and big agendas, and it's hard to see past that stuff. Chief Mimi, you're explaining the legal fiction. You talking about you talking about, I don't know, the U.S. corp or the person? I mean, you got to look at the U.S. citizen as just a franchise of the bankrupt U.S. corporation. It's just like a employee that is under it, under the hierarchy of the thing. You got the U.S. as a corporation. You have each state as a corporation, even though there is a Republican state in the background. And then under that, you have all the cities that are corporations. And then below that, you have all the U.S. citizens that are corporations. And they're all funneling money up to the crown. So, Rick Rock and Roll. Corporations are legally bound to make as much money as possible, I believe. No, so that's how they're set up. They're set up for the average person that is very uneducated, and by uneducated, I mean, hey, you could be as smart as you want in the indoctrinated public school system, but you're being indoctrinated. So, corporations, the U.S. citizens, we're all, as the authorized representative, we're not taught about any of this stuff. We're not taught about taxes. We're not taught about banking. We're not taught about corporate interests. We're not taught about the true medical stuff. We're not even taught properly about health. We're not taught properly about anything. That's why I'm here trying to lay all these foundations. We're not taught about spiritual stuff. Try to go to a medical place and start talking about spiritual stuff. They have no clue, absolutely no clue, because it's not based on science. Okay, well, what about you dreaming? Oh, that's an evolutionary accident. Like, come on, man. It's just anyway. So we're not taught about any of this stuff, but it depends on how you do your business is whether or not you're taxed, and there's so many ways to not be taxed. It's just depending on how you want to do your business. And even in the tax code, and I try to tell people this, and it's hard to believe, but the system on a big level is somewhat harmonious, okay? Except for when they're pushing agendas like C19 and stuff like that. But on a big scale, it's somewhat harmonious, and it makes people get out of bed and be productive in society. Now, it is a double-edged sword when all these corporations are out here working for profit, but I love that I can turn on the lights. I can order a 5mm hex bolt off Amazon if I wanted, or something like that. I wish everything was not for profit, but nobody's taught about not-for-profit. You can do almost exactly the same thing that a for-profit does to the T, except for just the IRS wants to know where the money's going. The people that created the system set it up so that you can make a lot of money as a not-for-profit. They just want to know where the money goes. It's because people want to hide and be greedy and treat people at the bottom as worthless and work off the bottom dollar and corporate greed and interest. That's why the system's set up the way it is. You can make a lot of money and help humanity out and not get taxed. That's just how it works. If you're going to try to hide money and be greedy and corporate off people's sweat equity and stuff, they're going to tax you. But yeah, it's up to you how you do your business, whether or not you don't have. I know baby mamas that don't make nothing. They're not engaged in the public system at all. They're U.S. citizens just sitting stagnant. They ain't got to do nothing. Or they could side hustle. They could barter trade. They ain't have to report none of that stuff. Chief Mimi, yeah, not the citizens. It's all one big system, Chief Mimi. But like I said, when you're dealing with the public, you have to use some type of entity to interface with them. And it's up to you which one you want to use. But from there, it's up to you. Alpha, why are they trying to murder people if they give manifest to the public to yin and yang? So again, what I was talking about earlier, when you deal at the top of the pyramid, the rulers and controllers of the natural realm who have taken influence over the large corporations look at a lot of the sheep as useless eaters. That's actually what they call us. The average person, they call a useless eater. And if you watch some of my videos under the C19 before, they knew that this stuff was coming. They planned 10, 20 years in advance. This isn't the first time that this type of system has come around to try to cull. They call it the Great Culling, where they use a certain amount of people at the top of the pyramid. Use a certain amount of people to do their bidding, and then any more people than that, they don't need them. It's just is what it is. They just look at them as useless zombies that they're just even though we're all fractals of the Creator and we all have amazing abilities and stuff like that. It don't matter, they're at the top and they have everything they need. Just imagine if you controlled the earth. Imagine if you had all the money that you ever needed and you could do anything you want. It's just one big board game. That's the people at the top. But yeah, so I would say the rulers of the natural realm are the ones that want that kind of stuff to happen, Alpha. Chief Mimi, the Moors are a legal fiction. They are a part of and created a lot of the fictional history. Yeah, that's possibly true. I don't know why they would have been in the Trail of Tears with a lot of the other tribes. So, that's what you're talking about as illegal fiction. You're talking about the Moors. I don't know if the Moors is a corporation. It might be incorporated. It might not be. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't done a whole lot of studies on Moors. But it does seem like there are some ties where they were here. But I mean, I know for a fact that white people weren't the first ones here. Well, I've heard that there were Irish people here. There were Vikings. Way before the colonies, the settlers came. Let me skip this over here. All right, Alpha. Then they make you sign a NDA after. After what? Are you talking about if you go through the DTC? NDA's non-disclosure agreement is for all kinds of different things. Kush, thanks for the follow. Chief Mimi, yes, indeed. Plecker said it was a 4,000-year-old plan. Wow, I believe it. I do. I know they plan 100 years plus ahead. When you start getting out much more than that, even though if you control everything, random stuff happens. And in the Bible, it continuously says not to be bound by the written law. So they might have some spaghetti plan on the wall, but after 100 years, I can guarantee you that some of the things have altered. You start getting beyond. I mean, even if you're trying to make a 5-year business plan, typically you want to have a return on investment within 5 years, because you start getting out beyond that. There's too many unknowns. It's just supply chains, gas. I just burped on the mic, so I hope that's going to be a beautiful listen for everybody later. Guys, this live will be on YouTube. The audio will be on my Telegram group. All my social media is linked on my profile page of TikTok. I have playlists to help re-educate you. You can DM me, email me. I have a website, Anointed New Foundation of Peace.life, with all kinds of auxiliary information to help you on your walks. And again, I do one-on-one consultations for free and answer DMs all the time. I actually have a substantial requests list right now on my inbox. I have 12 requests, conversations that I need to get on. I just haven't. Chief Mimi, thank you for the fire. Much appreciated. Gifts will be used to help others, promoting educational videos. Alpha, Lord King, NDA agreements from my experience. Lord King, what do you mean by Lord King? So whenever you have a private society, you can come up with rules and do whatever you want. Especially if you're doing stuff that you don't want people to disclose. Like a lot of the stuff that I teach, I'm surprised that it went out so much. That's why I kind of love TikTok, because I'll put my stuff on YouTube. Oh my gosh, my public schooling video, wow, it had 28 impressions. And an impression is just when it shows up on someone's screen. It's like, wow, YouTube really didn't want that stuff going out nowhere. And out of the 28 impressions, I had like 13 views. So 50% of the people, and that's the most highest ratio I have out of any video. 50% of the impressions were clicked on and watched my video, and none of them. And I had a couple likes, but to go out to only 28 people on YouTube, it's like daggone, it's nuts. Spicy, can you send me your contact info, please? I need to operate in the private. So, Spicy, I suggest watching the playlist on my profile. I have all my information. If you click on my little logo, you'll see my website. You'll see, you'll be able to DM me on TikTok. You'll be able to look at my playlist that can help understand about the public and the private. And that's how I suggest to go from there. But you can always reach out to me through DM on TikTok, or email me. My email is linked on my profile page of TikTok also. Alpha, when you create a god and become a master creator. So I don't know about creating a god. We're all like fractals of the creator. Even if we have babies, that's just it's like the fractal pattern continuing on. We're one with the creator. And, I don't know about creating a god, but you are the Bible, even in Psalms, it says you are gods. We are gods. We're all one with the creator. And Yahushua even said, there's one greater than me, and it gets real tricky. But anyway, like I can talk about any of this stuff one-on-one if anybody needs it. Spicy, you're welcome. Oh, you're from Canada? Cool. I'm here in Virginia in the U.S. Canada operates, I talked to somebody that's in Canada. Canada operates very similarly to the U.S. in a lot of different ways. Alpha, NDA agreements. Yeah, I know non-disclosure agreements. A lot of those are used to enforce certain things. For instance, if you were going to go through the DTC and dip into the private asset funds of the U.S. citizen, they make you sign an NDA agreement. Because if you were to start preaching how to do all that to everybody, you would cause such a massive disruption to the economy that overnight, like, stuff would start failing and crashing, and people would just start rioting all over the place. It'd be like so many gunshots and stuff blowing up and like all kinds of stuff. And if someone was ever to come into a power to release all this stuff, what they would end up doing is just doing it kind of slowly, because that's quote unquote how you boil a frog. But people can't handle too much information at once. Like, I'd be drowning y'all here on this live. Like, I'd just be hitting it. That's why I do a lot of one-on-ones, and I've created playlists to also help, so you can do baby steps and rewatch everything. Corp Soul Alpha. Corp Soul is amazing. That is my most favorite corporate entity to engage in the public with, because it's like a commercial shield that houses a spiritual organization for the natural people. So it's like all three in one. It just kind of tied everything together for me. It's just like the triangle, and I love using it. And I have videos on Corporation Soul, and then my website under Business Structures Corporation Soul, I have a lot of information as well. Jay Fox, this live will be on YouTube if you want to rewatch it. I'll post it shortly after I get off, and the audio will be in my Telegram group if you just want to listen to the audio. Alpha, sponsored mentor. Are you Alpha? Are you talking about for the Corp Soul? Because I can. Or are you talking about going through the DTC? Oh, the Corporation Soul. So if you go on my website under Commerce Business Structure, I have audios that can walk you through everything, including a document that I created and transcribed from some of the audio. It gives a high-level explanation of everything. I have a video on Corporation Soul, but like that, when I found out about the Corporation Soul, well, originally I was going to go through the DTC and try to dip into the private asset funds, but there's like several reasons why I didn't. And then I didn't know what to do from there, because I was like, well, since I'm not going to reduce the public debt, what do I do? And then the Corporation Soul became revealed to me, and that's just kind of tied everything together and just made everything so cohesive. I loved it. It's amazing. So I'm at the bottom of my list, guys, and it's almost been an hour. I usually just stay on here for an hour. So if you want to rewatch this, like I said, it'll be on YouTube. They ought to be on my Telegram group if you want to watch it. If y'all don't have any more questions, it is Friday. It is beautiful out. I might be getting a new office soon, hopefully within the next month, and it's going to be amazing. I love it. So I hope everybody's doing good out there in TV land. A cup of coffee with Chow Rules. If there ain't no more questions, I might wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for the gifts. Thank you, everybody, for the follows. Oh, thank you for the crown, Straw Stacker. Much appreciated. Reach out to me if you got any questions. You can DM me. You can email me. You can call me. It's on my website. All these things. It's all free. Alpha, so the thoughts on the SSN? The SSN, the Social Security number, is just a tax identification number established by the creditors of the U.S. The IRS is based in Puerto Rico, I think, is their base. It's all set up to funnel money to the crown, because the U.S. has been bankrupt from its beginning, and that's what a corporation is. A corporation is used to hold debt and transfer debt. And the Corporation Soul, that's the only one that I know of, like I said, that is still recognized by statute, that a sovereign created it, and you're not giving up jurisdiction by registering it. Everything else you register to a state, you give up control to. Except for a Corporation Soul. User 336, do you know anything about Lockbox P.O. Box? Yeah, so a P.O. Box is a non-contracting venue, and you can even call the IRS out on that, because they don't use street names and stuff like that. But you can set up a P.O. Box if you want. When I was doing my early walk, there was a lot of audio on setting up a P.O. Box kind of in a sovereign capacity, because you are the postmaster of your own post, and you can create a box to use as receiving mail and stuff. But again, it's not a contracting venue, so you want to use your house mailbox for a lot of stuff. Talk to you too soon, Chief. Thanks for coming on my live. Much appreciated. Alpha, property of SSA. So the SSA is not your property. It's Social Security Administration. It's a federal benefits program. And I can show you the code that says that any employee, a.k.a. U.S. citizen, that uses a federal benefits program is a federal personnel. So when you use the SSN number, it's the linchpin that creates the U.S. citizen into a federal personnel. not the man or the trust. Everything's in trust, Alpha. Everything. It doesn't matter what it is. We're all deceived into thinking that it's just plus and minus, positive, negative, black and white, but everything's in trust. Trust law is the highest form. I suggest looking into it. Anyway, no more questions, guys. I hope you enjoy your weekend. It's a beautiful Friday. Check this replay on YouTube when you get a chance. Thanks, Claw. Much appreciated. I love you guys, and thanks for all the gifts, and I'll see you around.